Writing this morning went good, but it didn't go quickly. There wasn't a whole lot of word count that was flowing through the fingertips onto the page. I did manage to get a key scene changed because I had altered something that happened earlier in the book, which sort of I had to then filter down. And I think this will be the last chapter that I'd previously written that will need to be changed, because the chapters that are coming after, for the most part, are going to be all new. So from probably after tomorrow, which will be finishing off chapter 13. Chapter 11 is technically the midpoint chapter. So by following that reasoning, I have 11 chapters left to write, and I have 7 weeks to do it in. The book is going to be approximately in the 75 to 80 word count range. That's usually what my books are. So get a math. Where's my calculator? If we've got, well, let's say 80. If I've probably written 46K, which means I have 34,000 words left to write. So if I've written approximately 46,000 words already, then I have 34,000 left to write, and I have 7 weeks to do it in. I write 5 days a week. Okay, let's see. We've got 34K divided by 7 weeks, 5 days, 35. I would technically need to write 970 words a day. That should be doable. But here's the thing. It's not so much how doable the word count is as the fact that I need to know what the words I'm writing are. And at this point, I don't. I have no idea what is happening. I know what's going to happen in probably the next 2 chapters. I do not know what's going to happen after I finish those ones. I don't know what happens. I think what I am going to have to do is I'm going to have to sit down and take one of my writing days, or 2 of my writing days, or however many it takes, to kind of plot things out a little more. I'm generally a plotter, and I do find I used to plot things out meticulously when I was writing early on, and then kind of as I get into my groove, I would know where the story was going, and I didn't need to do like really meticulous plotting. Then when I took a break, when I unwillingly took a break from writing and got back into it, I found that I had kind of shifted out of my groove, and trying to plot as I went was not working as well as it had originally when I was finishing off the Sins and Scandals series. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just take a few days and at least give myself a rough plot line of where I'm going next and what that leads to and how that brings me to the end. I think I'm going to have to actually sit down and do some plotting, which feels a little daunting because I haven't done that in a while. And it also feels a little daunting because I don't know what's going to happen, which is a very clear indication that I do need to sit down and do some plotting. So I think what I'm going to do is, for Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm going to try to finish off writing what I already have written and just like kind of edit that and clean it up, because there's some changes I have to make because of changes I made like in the earlier chapters. And then sit down and plot out. I mean, it doesn't have to be detailed. I just need, this has to happen next. This has to happen. That's going to lead to this, which means then this is going to happen. So I just need to sort of sit down and just go bop, 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 and figure out what I'm doing, where the key points are going to be, and take it from there. And I think what I might do is just pull out I think it was Michael Haig who did is it the 6-point plot thing? I found that really helpful when I was plotting. So I think I might pull that out and just try to use that to figure out where I'm going next and what the plot points I'm going to hit need to be. So that's the plan. So I've reached the point of the book now where I'm on chapter 15. I'm going to probably have about 21, 22 chapters in the book. I've finished editing everything that I had previous. So I've gone through and I've done all of that. So everything going forward is all new. So it's basically, I just have to get to the crisis point. I have to develop the relationship more. I need to... I feel like right now I need to do a lot of heavy lifting to get to the end of the book. And I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen to make that happen. I don't know where the story goes from now. So I think what I'm going to do today is a dye day for me. For my other business, I do hand dyed yarns. So I think what I'm going to do is while the yarn is soaking up the dye, I am going to try to just brainstorm plot for where I'm at now to the end and just try to throw down everything I can think of that needs to happen, that should happen, that maybe I might want to make happen. And see if I just can't come up with a cohesive ending for this story and to kind of get to where I need to get. Because right now I feel like what I have right now up to chapter 15 is solid. I feel like it's cohesive now. I just have to figure out how I'm going from chapter 15 to about chapter 21, 22 to get to the ending. What do I need to happen? What do I need to do to develop the relationship between the hero and heroine? What the antagonist is going to do to try to prevent all of that, and just kind of bring it all together and build the relationship, because right now it's kind of on iffy footing. And and I've moved them from the previous location to the new location. So all of that's going to be new. So I just need to sit down and do some planning before I jump into more writing, because I don't want to go writing off on a tangent that's not going to get me where I need to go. So I really need to do a little planning. So that's going to be my goal while the dye is soaking. I think I will maybe consider the rest of this week as strictly plotting and planning. And then that leaves me, I think, 6 weeks to go before I have to have this to my editor. And that will allow me, I can bang out 7 chapters in 6 weeks if I have a plan and if I know where those chapters are going. So I'm going to start that this morning for the rest of the morning. Then I'm going to finish off dyeing the yarn. I got to take the dog for a walk, and I got to take me for a walk because I've been sitting on my butt all morning. And then I'm going to just kind of try to get as much plotted out for the rest of this week so that going forward, I'm not going off on tangents that don't take me anywhere. And then I need a cohesive plan. So that is this week's job, a cohesive plan and a sturdy outline for what's going to happen from now until the end. Okay, I think I've made some solid progress. I've got, well, somewhat. I have the next chapter outlined as far as what needs to happen in it. And I've given some specifics, which sort of evolves the relationship a bit more and has the heroine kind of seeing things from a different point of view than she has previously, because previously it's been more about what she needed to accomplish in order to save her home, and now she's sort of seeing the results of what doing what she needed to do is going to affect the hero. So that's taken care of. I still have to write it. It's just kind of like spewed the thoughts out on the page. I think what I am going to do, I really want to kind of start writing that now, but what I'm going to do is not do that, because I don't want to start doing that and then plot further and realize that no, that's not going to work. I need changes, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to get the plotting done first as best I can from now to the end of the story, just to make sure that what I'm plotting out makes sense and gets me to the end of the story with all of the plot elements that I need. So, not going to write, going to keep plotting, but I'm going to take a break right now because I have to go deal with the yarn downstairs. And then I have to get the dog out for another walk. Good morning. It is really warm here today. It's sunny, as you can see. and it's about not quite 11 o'clock in the morning, and I think we're at about 22 degrees Celsius. So it's gonna be a warm one. I think it's supposed to get up to 29, which is really unusual for this time of the year, and we're coming into a long weekend. I went down to the coffee shop today, and I did a lot of character building, and I went through and I have Jami Gold, which I'll leave her website link down below. She has so much good information on her website. She's an author, she's a developmental editor, she's just like full of information. Years ago, she did Michael Hagg's workshop, and she sort of did it for the romance genre. So I always have a print off of that handy. She does a really good job of breaking down the 6-stage plot structure that Michael Hagg does and kind of breaking it down sort of for romance. And she also has the romance beat sheet, which I find really helpful. This kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like, and you can kind of see how she has like the point in the stories here. Then she gives kind of a description, sort of shows you depending, like you can plug in your page count. I think it's up here, and then it'll break it down over on the side. Sorry, like it's up here, and then you can sort of, it breaks it down on the side. So if you're trying to structure your novel and keep within your page count, I find this like really helpful. But this morning, most of what I was doing was just trying to get a strong sense of the characters themselves and what I need to incorporate, especially in the second half, to ensure that I'm bringing them kind of full circle from where they started in the old world to where they end up in the new world, and kind of addressing all of their sort of fears, hang-ups, things that are holding them back, and all of that stuff. So I did a lot of background work on that today, and I still have more to go, but I feel like I made some good progress, and now I just have to sort of look at what I have there, make sure it all jives, especially with what I have in the first half of the book, and then try to figure out the best way to pull that all together to have them come full circle by the end of the book. I'm going to work a little bit on that this morning before I kind of switch into doing all the other stuff I have to get done today. But I'm going to take about another maybe half hour just to sort of make some notes on the notes that I made today and get everything sort of pulled together for tomorrow so that I can just kind of jump into it, because I think we're going to the cottage tomorrow. So I may not have as long at the coffee shop as I normally would. So I want to be able to kind of like just jump in and go and get maybe at least a solid 2 hours in, and then head to the cottage. Okay, I think that's going to be it for this morning. I feel like I made some really good notes on character building and stuff like that, which honestly at this point, I mean, that's really something I should have done probably at the beginning, but I find I need to write. I'll do like a rough draft of that in the beginning, but then as I start to write the story at about the halfway point, I really feel like, okay, now I feel like I know the characters, and then I kind of go back in at the midpoint and sort of develop that more, so that going forward in the second half, I make sure I'm picking up everything that I had learned from writing the first half. Okay, I think that's going to be it for this morning. It's almost 11:30 right now, so I am going to get some other work done, and I feel like I made some really good notes on character building and stuff like that, which honestly at this point, I mean, that's really something I should have done probably at the beginning, but I find I need to write. I'll do like kind of a rough draft of that in the beginning, but then as I start to write the story at about the halfway point, I really feel like, okay, now I feel like I know the characters, and then I kind of go back in at the midpoint and sort of develop that more so that going forward in the second half, I make sure I'm picking up everything that I had learned from writing the first half. So I'm going to call it a day here. I feel like my brain's sort of saying that's enough for now. I may pick it up later. I did order some books, a lot of it on marketing and stuff like that, because that is honestly, I am awful at marketing and things like that. So I just picked up some books on that because it has been a while. I had a release like a little over a year ago, but my marketing game sucks. So I really need to amp that up. It was a little easier when I was doing the Sins and Scandal series and something was coming out like every, 5 to 6 months. But I'm writing a little slower now, or I was writing a little slower just because of the day job and the amount of writing time I had, blah, blah, blah. Writing wise, I think I'm going to stop where I'm at now. I just want to kind of allow what I figured out today to percolate a bit, and then I'll start to kind of work that into the story going forward. Good morning. Yeah, actually, maybe afternoon. I'm not really sure. Actually, yes, it is afternoon. This is going to be the final installment for this installment. I'm not having a good day. So I've hit the point in my book. I kind of went through and I fixed a bunch of stuff up and I got everything in order and I was like, great, I'm ready to go. And I sat down and I've got a third of the book left to write. I have no idea where to take it. I know roughly what I have to do with the story as far as like what elements I need to throw in. But then I think, okay, well, how am I going to structure those elements? How am I going to add them into the story in a way that makes sense? And my mind goes completely blank. I feel like I've got this mental block about where to go next, and I can't get past it. And it's frustrating the hell out of me. It had me so frustrated on the weekend that I literally just thought, okay, I'm just going to open something else up because I have a contemporary 4-book series that I'm going to be writing next. And I had actually started this series quite a few years ago. Just sort of I had the idea and then I just did like a barf out what I could think of for the first book just to kind of get things started. So I went back and I was reading through that and I was like, this would be the perfect series to do as a rapid release. It's a contemporary. It's has like about 5 books to it and possibly more. Like there's a way I could add more if I wanted to. And I started just kind of going through the first book of what I had written. I really liked it. And I was like, oh, I'm really excited about jumping into this now. Part of the reason I was probably really excited about jumping into it was because I'm really excited about jumping out of the one I'm currently working on because it's not working. It's not working. And it's not that it isn't working. It's working up to the point that I have it now. But when I'm trying to figure out where to take it next to get to the end, I get nothing. It's like it's like everything in my brain just flushes out somewhere and goes downstream where I can't reach it. I don't know. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone somewhere. I don't know where. And it's not like I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to take a few weeks off from it and then I'll circle back because I have a deadline of when I have to get it to my editor. So I have to get this done. And maybe that pressure too is part of what's causing the problem. But I've always worked under a deadline and never had a problem. I like deadlines. I'm usually very kind of goal oriented. So if it's like the goal is to get to here, then that like drives me. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't. But whatever I am currently doing, it's not working. So I think what I'm going to do, and I hate losing another week because I feel like I spent last 2 weeks sort of getting everything in order up to where I had it, which I needed to do. So it's not like that didn't need to get done, but that took up more writing time. And now I've got 6 weeks left to write a third of the book, and yet I don't know what I'm going to write. Writing's hard. I should have taken up like something easy. Is it too late to change disciplines? So that's where I'm at right now. I spent about 2 hours at the coffee shop, and then I was so ticked off. I was so angry that I couldn't get past this block. I was supposed to go to the gym, and I was so angry. I was like, I'm just going home, which is ridiculous because working out probably would have helped clear my brain a little bit. But anyway, it's one of those days. I am meeting 3 of my writer friends for dinner tonight, so maybe I can just get them to smack some sense into me and get over this hump and try again tomorrow. But for now, I think I'm going to cap off this section of the Woe Is Me part 2, trying to write my book. And then maybe the next installment will be all good stuff.